Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's YouTube video has got me back in my favorite ship of all time, the USS Fletcher, here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway, it's neighbors, it's domination match mode, and I have spawned closest to and have decided to head directly for the sea cap point. Now you notice I am pretty far forward and out in the open here, and that's going to come into play here in a few minutes. But I am in a Fletcher, I'm a very sneaky ship, and I do know how to break an engagement if I have to. I know the map well, and I know where I can go to block line of sight. But you'll notice that my team has decided that they're for the most part going to push to the B and C cap point. So eventually I am going to get back up at the C cap point. A couple of key things to note in this battle here is that both teams have the same number of destroyers, but my team technically has the destroyer advantage because the enemy team's tier 9 is a Yugamo, which isn't as good as the Fletcher. Now as I pop up here, I put a set of torpedoes down that channel because there's usually a ship or two that decides to pop up that direction, and as I do, the enemy Mahan pops up. It's a tier 7 destroyer there, and he's going to pop up and he's actually going to prevent me from capturing the C cap point. Now I know he's there and I didn't see anybody else. More importantly, I haven't seen anybody else pushing up on this side of the map. So you can see there, enemy ships are starting to pop up, and they are making a rush for the A cap point. We do have one destroyer that's decided to go down there, and that is a really stupid move on his part. He's very isolated, and he doesn't have any backup at all. Now, as I come around this corner here, that Mahan did pop a smoke screen because he knew he was spotted, but he wasn't sure by what, and that's going to be a bit of a mistake for him, because of course, what do I always say? Smoke screens are torpedo magnets. However, if he's playing it smart in that smokescreen, he's probably preparing for the possibility of torpedoes. And since I only had one set available, I wasn't able to spread them out in that smokescreen like I would have preferred to have. However, I do have just 10 seconds left to my next torpedo, so I can get those out there. And if you pay attention to the minimap, which was something I wasn't doing, I actually have a friendly cruiser coming up here, and it's about this point that these ships suddenly get detected, and I'm not entirely sure why. I'm actually thinking I was detected as well, being proximity, but that's not the case. The New Orleans popped his radar, and that's going to be good for me. Now, enemy Yugamo is right there. I fire off my set of torpedoes at that Mahan in an effort to try and kill him, but he starts backing up rapidly, and so my torpedoes miss, which is a little annoying and kind of unfortunate. But see, this Yugamo does not know how to break an engagement here, and he is absolutely getting wrecked. Now he gets his torpedoes out here towards me, and he does have some backup off in the distance that's shooting at me, so I'm going to start turning hard and away, basically avoiding all these torpedoes, but as well putting myself into a position here where I can go ahead and I can pop that smoke screen and break contact behind me. That enemy Mahan's still sitting in a smoke screen. The radar is no longer active, so he's not going to be detected anymore. I did take some damage. Most of that was from the Yugamo. Some of it was actually from the ships that were off in the distance there. And I get myself turned around, and there's the Mahan, who's left his smoke screen. Very wise of him in this particular case. A little disappointed that I didn't manage to secure my first kill in this game on that Yugamo that was actually taken from me by, I believe, the New Orleans, who's now pushing around the other side and is going to absolutely wreck this Mahan. As you can see there, he's taking shots in for pretty much everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join the fun and get shots out there. And my torpedoes, well, that Mahan basically turned around and sailed right back into them. It's always a risk you take if you're turning back towards where your smoke screen was in an engagement, that you gotta watch out for the fact that there are probably torpedoes headed your direction, especially if you know that there's an enemy destroyer still around here. So, with that destroyer dead, that's 2 enemy destroyers down. Now, we've only lost one of our destroyers, which is a little unfortunate, but that happens, and of course that happened because he went all the way to the A cap point by himself. The enemy team is now in the process of capping B. We did capture B there briefly, and that's actually going to kind of help us in the end because that means that we have the C cap point now. And because we had the B cap point and because we've only lost one ship, we actually have a points lead. I get both sets of torpedoes off there at that enemy battleship, that Tirpitz off in the distance there, who's effectively sailing in a straight line, and you'll notice that he's effectively sailing at the edge of the map. Taking a quick zoom in here on the high school fleet ship, just because I haven't seen it yet, and I thought the paint job was kind of cool. So I'm taking a quick glance back there as my friendly team is trying to put shots out on that Tirpitz there, but that's not going to matter as I nail him for 3 and pretty much wreck him outright, and that's not even my second set. My second set still on the way there, and there it is, one more to secure the kill. Because that second set got there a little bit too late, I didn't secure a devastating strike. However, that battleship is now no longer a threat. And as you can see here, the fight is really going to be here at the B cap point. So I gotta watch out for torpedoes coming in here. With all the destroyers up here, just decide to thread the needle there through the gap. And I'm looking at options for things to shoot at. I do have to be careful. There's a friendly battleship that's just behind me there, but I'm going to take the risk. I fire off a set of torpedoes into the edge of that smoke screen, and I fire off a second set a little more center of mass into that smoke screen. Fortunately for me, the battleship behind me was not moving full speed. He's kind of playing it very cautiously, keeping that island between him and the vast majority of destroyers and high explosive spamming items that are sitting inside that smoke screen. Friendly Sims comes up here and he lays a smoke screen for me, and I'm very appreciative of that, so I'm going to take advantage of this smoke screen. I'm going to slow way down and don't have to use mine. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get shots out here onto this North Carolina, and with any luck, I'll be able to set them on fire. In the meantime, my torpedoes headed still dead center into that smoke screen, and again, smoke screens are torpedo magnets, and I do manage to connect with something in there with that first set of torps, and the second set of torps actually connect with an enemy Iowa. So that enemy Iowa had continued to push into the smoke screen, thought he was probably going to be safe there. Nope, no such luck as my torpedoes connect. Now that first set though did hit that cruiser that laid the smoke screen. So the enemy team is now down to 2 destroyers. My team so far has only lost 1. So my team has the absolute destroyer advantage. We're up on destroyers 2-1 basically. And I still have a pretty good chunk of health. We still have a Sims here that's got a lot of health as well. In fact, he's full health. And if he's playing it really quite well and using the torpedoes to his advantage, he can cause some serious problem here. Now I'm trying to get torpedoes again off into that smoke screen up there because I know there's a North Carolina sitting in there. And I accidentally rub against a friendly teammate here. That's okay, it's just a little love tap, you'll be fine. But looking at the situation, the enemy team holds 2 caps, and that's actually the only reason that they're still in this game at this point, because they've lost so many ships. Cyclone has started up. That's going to be an advantage for me because of the short detection range of this ship. Managed to blindly fire into the smoke screen, take out the enemy Sims. That's my 4th kill, by the way. Or, I'm sorry, that's my 3rd kill. So there's not a lot left for the enemy team. They still have 1 destroyer left, and that destroyer is a fast Russian bugger. And it would be nice if we could secure a kill on him as well, and that would leave no enemy destroyers left. So looking at the minimap situation here, and what's in front of me, the vast majority of the enemy team, all right down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push into the B cap point, and I'm going to move to secure it. And there, that Russian destroyer is moving quite fast. I'm contemplating putting torpedoes out on him, but I've got friendly ships that might come around that island, and I just kind of assume that he's probably going to turn away, and turn away hard, just because he doesn't want to come around and engage those ships directly. So instead, I hang on to my torpedoes, and I start getting turned around here. Don't really want to sit broadside on, still thinking about putting shots out there, but I don't want to do that until I have secured the B cap point. But you'll notice he's in the B cap point with us, so we're actually stalled there initially for being unable to finish capping it. Now I'm going to push up here, another little love tap on a friendly ship there. Yeah, it could have been worse. Get torpedoes away as I just clear him. He was kind of slowing down and stopping, and I'm going to go ahead and pop my smoke screen now. I'm going to pop that smoke screen mostly just so I can open fire with my guns on this Amagi. And that's when I noticed the enemy destroyer very low HP, so I'm going to go ahead, shift focus fire over to him. He disappears, drops off detectability, but again, those shots connect. And that actually was my 4th kill earlier, so there's my 5th kill, Kraken Unleashed. So now I've got my Kraken Unleashed, and I've done 100,000 damage. The enemy team is down to just 4 ships, and my team so far has only lost 1. The one destroyer that went down to the A cap point at the beginning of the battle by himself. Now, we do have a broadside Iowa here. Pay attention to him. He is paying very much of his attention, effectively solely focused on that Amagi, and that's going to prove to be his downfall, because you can see him, he's not really angling against that Amagi. He doesn't see a threat from it. That Amagi's got other issues to deal with. But those shots in, those are from the North Carolina, and they take him out and finish him off. That's what you get. If you're broadside to a battleship, you're gonna get smacked. And that kind of doesn't show some awareness as to what's going on in the battlefield around you, because we knew that that North Carolina was back there. He was reversing away, and he decided now to push forward. And that's when I get a little too close. I didn't expect him to turn in like this. So he does see me. I am detected, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up with my guns. I'm going to try and run away here. And at this point, I'm thinking I should be okay. I don't have to do too much hard maneuvering because he's got an enemy cruiser pushing up there, and that cruiser is more of a threat. But the answer's nope there. I take a big ol' hit, and there's where survivability expert skill comes in handy. Look at that. I'm surviving with barely any HP left. And now I've got a battleship between him and me, and there's also that cruiser, which, again, if I was the battleship, the destroyer, yeah, sure, but that cruiser, man, he's also got torpedoes, so you gotta pay attention to that. So here, I managed to survive the engagement with barely any health left, and of course, now if I had adrenaline rush, that would obviously play a major advantage for me in a destroyer having those torpedoes reload about 10 seconds quicker. Not that it would matter at this point, considering there's only one ship left. We know where he's at, and I'm really not in the mood to go deal with him in a cyclone when there's a cap point for me to go after. Especially not considering that I don't have a lot of health left. If you find yourself in this situation, the best thing I can recommend is to go and look for the alternate ways to win. You don't have to kill everything to win. Sure, it helps, it's nice, but if you're a low health destroyer, remember, you staying alive means that you're still in the game and the enemy team doesn't get points. One of the best things you can do is to go and cap a base if you haven't already capped, or just turn away and kind of hang in the back. Pop a smokescreen for your friendly ships. That smokescreen deployment was accidental, by the way, as I was trying to respond to somebody in chat. There we go, 112,000 damage, kind of a low damage game for me from what you are used to, but still well above the server average. 5 kills there, Kraken Unleashed, my only reward, 2 full base capture assists, and a good number of torpedo hits and floodings caused. And of course, with a Kraken Unleashed and a good amount of damage, plus those base caps, remember base caps are fun, juicy XP. Top of the team for XP earned at just over 2,000 base XP in that game, with only 2 ships lost on our team. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. You can also find my live streaming schedule posted there. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, as well as help support me in the long run, get a better video editing software so I don't make small mistakes like I did in this video, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Any support level will grant you access to some of my World of Warships replays and really help me in the long term. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can do so by sending it to my email. And again, if you'd like to watch me play World of Warships live, among other games, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.